I'm doing a seminar telling my story one day in Los Angeles, California, and in my audience walks a young man, 19 years old, and his name is Mark Hughes. Now let me tell you the big impact Mark Hughes had on my life. Make this note now. Mark Hughes, during the time he knew Jim Rohn, Mark Hughes taught me much more than I taught him. I knew him from age 19 to age 44. It's true, I was his first mentor. I shared with Mark my experience as a health and nutrition distributor, starting at the bottom and going to the top. I shared with him what I thought about this type of marketing, person to person. And I'm sure Mark used some of that when he put the products together, started the company in 1980. So I was a bit of a counselor to Mark Hughes, his first mentor. When he attended my seminar, I started sharing those ideas of personal development. When Mark sat in that first seminar, here's what I shared. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. If you just remain how you are, you'll always have what you've got. But if you're willing to make changes, the next 5 years of your life can be totally different than the last 5. If you don't change, chances are excellent the next 5 will be like the last 5. Those philosophies I shared with Mark. Once in a while in his testimonial, here's what he used to say. Jim Rohn was the first person that gave me the idea that in spite of my background and poor circumstances and lack of education, in spite of all of that, I could make changes and become successful. Jim Rohn was the first person. You can't imagine how that made me feel. Not only all those years, but all these years. The 3 major influences in the life of Mark Hughes. 3 major influences in the life of Mark Hughes. First was health and nutrition. Second, person-to-person marketing. And I told the group on Thursday the incredible numbers that Mark achieved by the time he died 2.5 years ago. Some of the most staggering numbers you will ever hear. The wealth he created for the distributors, what he created for his family, what he created in the industry, what he created for Herbalife as a company. The numbers are absolutely staggering. I've got those numbers. I take them with me everywhere I go. The little paper that I gave those numbers to the group on Thursday. This little piece of paper now is just almost worn out. When Mark died, I asked for these numbers. They're startling. This is why Michael Johnson joined the company. This is why we've got this incredible staff now headed for the future. These numbers Mark created. And if you know somebody that was in the meeting on Thursday, that unique group that qualified for Thursday, if you know somebody that was in that group, and if you treat them with great respect, they will probably share with you these numbers. Then the third major influence in the life of Mark Hughes, I was happy to bring this idea. Here's what it's called, simply personal development. In that first seminar, here's what I shared with Mark. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. You don't have to work on the marketplace, you only have to work on yourself to become more valuable and learn the skills. Let me give you a list of those skills that I learned that you can learn in Herbalife that can change your life. Here they are. Number 1, getting customers. Age 25, I knew how to milk cows, didn't pay very well. Then my life started to change. Health and nutrition. The product I sold was similar to Formula 1, Formula 2, Herbalife. Protein wafers to snack on all day long, help you lose weight. Getting customers. First skill I learned besides milking cows, and it helped to change my life, starting part-time. Next skill I learned, finding good people. You just have to search. If you search, what? You will find. Finding is reserved for the searchers, not for the hopers, not for those who wish, but for those who search. And you've had enough information here already today to go back and increase your skill and ability to search until you find good people. The third skill I learned was how to organize, getting people to work together. If you want to become wealthy, this is one of the most important skills. An ancient scripture says, if two or three agree on a common purpose, nothing is impossible. I'll give you time to write that down, translate it in Spanish and whatever other language is going on here today. Here's what it says. If two or three agree on a common purpose, nothing is impossible. That's part of the miracle of Herbalife and how we have this many here today. We're going to do this again in Paris. We're going to do it again in where? Singapore, around the world. If two or three agree, the power of just two or three, doesn't need to be 2,000 or 3,000 to start. Doesn't need to be 200,000 or 300,000 to start. Just two or three who agree. It was so exciting for me 19 years ago when Mark said, Jim, travel the world with me. We'll build the finest leadership team in the world. We'll someday influence the health and nutrition industry. And if we do it right, we can positively affect the lives of millions of people. Right. Not 1,000 of us, just 2 or 3 to start. And then 2 or 3 became 200 or 300, and 200 or 300 became 2,000 or 3,000, and 2,000 or 3,000 became 200,000 or 300,000, and 200,000 or 300,000 became 2 million. And finally we arrive here today. Just 2 or 3 to start. In your community, in your organization, get 2 or 3 and start working together. The next key I learned that changed my life, a unique skill called promotion. Alan Lorenz is probably the best. He knows all the dates and he knows all the meetings. He almost has the world calendar in his head. It's amazing. And he knows the reasons why. If you just do this, you'll reach this level. And if you do this, you'll reach this level. And if you just take 4, you'll do this. Amazing. Learn how to promote. But here's the secret I learned in promotion. Herbalife takes care of the big steps if you'll take care of the little steps. I learned to reward people for small steps of progress. Herbalife takes care of the big steps. Get team, millionaire team, president's team, chairman's club. But if you'll take care of the little steps, learning to recognize, promote, then here's the key that made me millions. Be so busy giving recognition to others, you really don't need it for yourself. Next, the skill that I learned during those formative years of being a distributor, and that's communication. And it's communication in 3 parts. Here's those 3 parts. Number 1, training, showing somebody how the business works. You've had plenty of that already today. But here's the next one, which I'm trying to do a bit of as we finish here today. And that's called teaching. And I've just used 2 words just to separate the 2. Training, showing somebody how the business works. Teaching is showing somebody how life works. When I met my teacher, Mr. Schoaf, he said to me, Mr. Rohn, show me your current list of goals and let's go over them and talk about them. He said, I've been around a long time, I can probably give you some good advice. And I said to him, I don't have a list. He said, Mr. Rohn, if you don't have a current list of your goals, he said, I can guess your bank balance within a few $100s, which he did. And that got my attention. I said, you mean my bank balance would change if I had a list of goals? He said, drastically. I said, then I'm ready to learn how to set goals. He taught me, and it changed my life, how to set goals. So I'm asking you not only just to be a trainer, I'm asking you to be a teacher. Teach somebody leadership skills. Teach somebody communication skills. So we need life skills and business skills, and you can learn to do both, even if you're fairly new. Here's the most important on communication, learning to inspire. Helping people see themselves better than they are. helping people see the future, helping people see not just with their eyes, but help them to see with their mind, insight. Seeing with your eyes we call sight. Seeing with your imagination we call insight. Helping people to see the vision of the future. That's what Mark brought us when he started the company. And those 20 years he was with us, he helped us to see the future. Next, help people to see the possibilities. Describe to them the potential, what's available. Using testimonials. There's so many testimonials now. People that started with nothing. Sarah Alfaro started with a brochure, now has this huge organization, Mexico and US. A brochure. The inspiration of stories, the inspiration of testimonials. It inspired me to spend the rest of my life listening to the testimonials. You know, I've been around Herbalife now 23 years. I'm now looking forward to the next 23. And under personal development, learning the skills, here's what I learned building my own organization. Learn to work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Because that's the way life works. Life doesn't respond to what we need. Life responds to what we deserve. It doesn't say if you need a harvest, you'll get one. It says, no, if you plant in the spring, you'll get a harvest in the fall. Reaping and harvesting belongs to the planters, not to those who need, but to those who plant. Then here's the next key. Show people how to deserve your time. Work with the people who deserve it, but show them how to deserve your time, your attention, your information. Next, something that helped transform my career in health and nutrition, here it is. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. Just make that note. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Well, if you were Anthony Powell, maybe you could carry 2. But I'm telling you, he'd have problems carrying 3. It's so important to get people to be independent as soon as possible. We call them independent distributors, but it seems like at first they're very dependent. And they are dependent on getting proper information, being properly inspired, helping them to set goals. But as quickly as possible, show them what they can do on their own that will start helping to establish them as a true Herbalife independent distributor. It's a great gift that you can give them. The next dramatic effect in my life was a man I met by the name of Mr. Earl Schoaf, who introduced me to health and nutrition as a business and a product, who introduced me to network marketing, where you could start at the bottom and go to the top. Best of all, he introduced me to the idea of personal development. And here it is. You can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fine. I started hearing those ideas age 25, and it revolutionized my whole life. First, I was excited about the product because my mother had studied health and nutrition all of my life. I was the beneficiary. So was my father, who lived to be 93. And then to discover it as a product and a business blew my mind. Then when I found out you could get rich with using just a few simple philosophies. Here's the first one that helped me get rich. Profits are better than wages. That changed my whole look at the economy, the look at myself, my paycheck. It was incredible. And then my sponsor said to me, Mr. Rohn, here's what you can now say. I'm working full-time on my job, and now I'm working part-time on my fortune. Those ideas drastically changed the course of my life. Guess what it did? Set for me a new attitude and philosophy. So make this note now, philosophy determines attitude. If you have the philosophy and the attitude that here's my chance, even starting part-time, to invest in the idea of fortune making, because you can lay the foundation for fortune making, you don't have to do it 8 hours a day. You don't have to do it 10. It's not something that requires working around the clock. It just requires simply a commitment. Here's what I did. I started part-time. That's the magic. So make this note. Teach people the magic of starting to work part-time, not just to pay a few bills, that's okay, but how about the idea of working part-time fortune making? It changes everything. It changes how you talk. It changes how you invite. It changes how you treat your customers. It changes how you have respect for your distributors, laying the foundation for a career and then a fortune. It changes everything, your philosophy and your attitude. Then the idea of maximizing your part-time. Here's what I think I've discovered with those that have decided to work part-time. They've told us they were going to work 10, 15 hours a week, but here's what happens. They become part-time distributors. So I think here's what we ought to try to teach. Let's go full-time, part-time. If you're going to dedicate 10 or 15 hours, a week to the business, just fill up those hours with activity and phone calls and flyers and on the internet. It doesn't matter what you do. Start making the contacts, but fill up that 10, 15 hours. Go full-time, part-time. And the appeal to do that is strong if the appeal is, I'm not just working to pay a few bills, that's okay. I'm not just working to become financially independent, that is great. I'm working to build a career and someday a fortune. Now here's what's exciting about being part-time. It isn't long until you'll be sitting in a class taught by millionaires. It's the most extraordinary part of Herbalife's value that we can give to someone who joins. You'll soon be taught by people who've become extraordinarily successful from every walk of life that you can possibly imagine. It's worth that alone to join Herbalife, just to get in on the training, to see if it won't affect your thinking, your philosophy, your attitude, and change your life. So I met this extraordinary man, Mr. Earl Schoaf. He gave me these opening ideas for changing my life, building my business. It was absolutely incredible. Then I was a distributor for 7 years. And signing autographs one more time today reminds me of when I got my first autograph. Reminds me of when I took my first picture with somebody important and went home and started telling the story. That's why I probably linger a little longer doing the autographs than most people do, simply because I remember that first time. And I remember how important it was to me. On my trip to India, I started a program. We had some leadership classes as well as doing a seminar for the distributors and for the public. And I promised in the leadership classes that I would sign everybody's journal, not just the few who came up. But I took the time and we arranged it, and it worked like magic. A couple of rows at a time coming by. Sign, say hello, look them in the eye. Sign, say hello, look them in the eye. Everybody in the leadership classes. And the feedback has been absolutely incredible. Taking the time, because I know how important it is, those early days after I met this extraordinary man. Then let's go about 27 years ago when I'm doing this little talk and seminar in Los Angeles, California, and in my audience is a young man, 19 years old. His name is Mark Hughes. What an extraordinary day that was. From the Girl Scout story, and then to meeting Mr. Schoaf and starting to change my life, for gaining the experience that was going to serve me well all of these years, then finally meeting Mark Hughes, where I could make a deposit of my experience and life and heart and soul into something I believed in. Those were 3 extraordinary occasions. Then let me look back at just one more. When I first started traveling with Mark 21 years ago, I met with a group of distributors. I told them that I was an only child. I had no brothers and no sisters. And I always wanted to belong to a large family. So I asked those very first Herbalife distributors if they would adopt me
into their family. They agreed to do so. So I'm now in Hawaii, not just with my friends, not just with my business associates. I'm here with my family. Now here's how the past becomes useful. Not to live in the past and not to dwell in the past, but to borrow the experience of the past, and then, here's the second part, invest them in the future. We sometimes make the comment, he has a wealth of experience. And see, experience is wealth. What we've been through is a treasure. What we now know is so vital, not just to ourselves and our families, but to the people we're going to meet in the future and the ones we've helped to change their lives up until now. So the past is valuable if you gather it up and invest it now into the future. That's part of our exercise here these 4 days, remembering the past, using it as an investment for the future. Now here's the second one. We look back, yes, but now we look ahead. We look back for experience and we look ahead for inspiration, setting our goals, your family goals, your business goals, the person you wish to become, the skills you wish to develop, the people you want to meet, the places you want to go, the experiences you want to have, building a financial wall around your family nothing can get through, the health you want, the person you wish to be. All of those goals are important. Here's what my mentor taught me when I was 25, for your notes. He said, if you have enough reasons, you can do the most incredible things. He says, Mr. Rohn, I think you've got the experience and you've got the skills and you certainly have the desire. Here's what you might be lacking, a long enough list of reasons. Reasons that drive you, reasons that get you up a little extra early, reasons that keep you up a little extra late, reasons that make you a team player, reasons that make you solve the dilemma of your own challenges and then start helping somebody else with their challenges. Reasons, that's what makes the difference. In an Herbalife, we've got a lot of reasons based on our history and based on where we are. I think part of our reasons for the future is going to be just a little revenge, right, John? A little revenge for the people who said we couldn't do it, for the people who said we wouldn't last through the 3 years of transition after Mark died. It's going to be such a delight when we get the report that we passed 2 billion, right? And we're going to get on the phone. For those who said, you know, the chairman's club's going to leave and the president's team's going to leave and Herbalife is going to fall apart, we've got some good reasons now to succeed. And for those who said we wouldn't make it this far, for those who said, now that Mark is gone, the dream is gone, we just can't wait to get to the 2 billion. Then the 3 billion. No telling who we will get on the phone and call and tell and show, and the pictures and the photographs and the albums we will have by the time we reach 3 billion. Our enemies will choke on all of the stuff we will have. By the time we've gotten to 4 billion, all of your new homes and new cars and Ferraris and clothes and the vacations you've taken and the album and pictures you've collected over the years is going to be something awesome when we reach the 4 billion. A bit of revenge. Old Testament says, God says, vengeance is mine, all mine. No wonder he wants it all. It feels so good. If I was God, I'd want it all. Then I can't wait for the day to come when Michael Johnson walks on the stage, and after we've gotten the final accounting, and for the goal that he worked so hard for, and the staff that worked with him, and all the stuff we've accomplished, especially this past 9 months and in the next couple of years, when we present him with a refined accounting in a well-bound book, and when he opens it up, Michael Johnson will read, We have just reached the 5 billion, Mr. Johnson. Of course, we paid the price. How many of you have children at home that couldn't come, that allowed you to be here? How many of you? Looks like almost everybody. When you get back home, tell them thank you from Jim Rohn for making those sacrifices so that you could be here. I'm telling you, when we get to the 2 and then the 3 and the 4 and the 5, here's what we're going to say. Small price to pay for the glory we now share with each other. It's going to be fantastic. So, look back, look ahead, set your goals. Here's the next one, and this one is so important. Look over your plans. Maybe you've got too small of plans. By the time we've finished here tomorrow, you might have scrapped some old plans and made some new ones, or made sure that the plan you've got is well tuned and well refined. As we speak, almost hourly and daily, the team at home office, continually revising, continually shaping, continually refining, making it more simple, making it easier to tell in terms of products, but all the rest of it, from the support staff, from all these countries represented here around the world, fine-tuning the support staff. That's going on while we speak. We should all do the same thing. I'm fine-tuning my own plan, right? These next years, working with Herbalife and all of you around the world, I've got some plans for myself, my own growth, my own development, fine-tuning my own skills. So look over your plans for the future, your plans for your family, your plans for your health, your plans for your organization. Make sure they're in place.
One of the most important things I learned in building my business, here it is. As many distributors, as many customers as possible to represent each distributor, and as many distributors as possible to represent each supervisor volume. As many customers as possible to represent the distributor, as many distributors as possible to represent the supervisor volume. The key to remember in Herbalife, you don't get rich by volume, you get rich by people. Here's what else I learned. Mark Hughes knew it. It's not who you recruit, it's how many. All prospects are equal. There's a surprise a day waiting for you, right? When you recruit someone, you think they're going to stay, they leave. Someone you think is going to leave, they stay. Here's what you say in both instances. Isn't that interesting? I thought sure they were going to stay. They left. I thought sure they were going to leave. They stayed. Here's what I've learned to do. Discipline your disappointment. Especially if it's someone you know and they try so little when they need to do it so much. I learned sometimes those that need it the most are inclined the least. Those that should, don't. Those that could, won't. Here's what we call that, mysteries of the mind. I don't know. Someone says, well, this product doesn't work for me. He said it was designed not to work for some people. So, I don't know. Because I used to try to make everybody successful, found out that was impossible. I said, I'll make them successful if it kills me. I almost died, so I gave that up. Do your best to teach and inspire and instruct, and then just see what happens. Let yourself be surprised. Here's what else I found that made me rich. Sometimes it's not who you recruit, it's who they bring you that makes you rich. Mark recruited about 200 people. Most of them did not stay. But some of them, before they left, brought him somebody that made him rich. You must remember that. You recruit somebody, and they bring somebody who brings somebody who brings somebody, and that's the person who makes you rich. And have the patience to make that happen. So let me give you this quick list now as I wrap it up. Here's the first one. Have some patience, Mark said. Patience to work with a variety of personalities. Some customers are easy, and some are a pain. Some distributors are easy, and some are a pain. Some distributors, as soon as they're recruited, open up the bottle of tablets, pour the tablets on the table, and they count the tablets. If it's one tablet short, they call you on the phone. If it's one tablet too many, they never call. Have the patience, do the best you can. I know sometimes patience finally runs out, but until then, do the best you can. Next, you got to have faith to believe, faith in yourself, faith in the process, faith in the plan, faith in the products. With what we've heard now about products these last few days, and especially today, you can have faith that Herbalife's going to continue to have the best products available that science can possibly produce. Here's what's next. Learn to make wise decisions. Wise decisions about yourself, your organization, your family, your future. Develop all the skills necessary to make your fortune. And by the way, speaking of fortune, jot this down. One of the early goals you should set, since you're involved in a program that can help you get there. The goal to become financially independent as quickly as possible. Financial independence means the ability someday to live from the income of your invested resources. I want you to get there as quickly as possible. Someday you could, if you wanted to, live from the income of your invested resources so that now you can work for joy and not for necessity. When Mark had been in business about 2.5 years, he had plenty of money and he could have quit. Then why did he invest all those years from the time he made enough to retire? He kept on going until finally he died age 44. Why would he continue to do that? Here's why. He became financially independent so that he could then work for joy and not for necessity. I had that happy opportunity when I met Mark, because I didn't need the money, but I did need the joy. I did need the challenge. And that's what's been exciting for me, to work here, not for the money, but for the joy. Next, consistency, day in, day out, Mark taught. Integrity, to maintain the company's reputation for the future so that those we recruit today will have a future for tomorrow and ongoing. Maintain Herbalife's integrity and your own integrity to do the right thing. The next word I want to leave with you is courage. Sometimes when it all seems wrong, you just have to stay in there and have courage to stay. Courage in public. Here's some of the most important courage. Courage in private. When you've got nobody to talk to but yourself, have courage to tell yourself the truth. Here's where I really am. Here's what I'm really doing. Here's what's really going on. That kind of courage will change your life. Here's the next one, courage to change. If you've gotten some information here already today to make some changes in your program, changes in your thought, changes in your philosophy, how to do the business, make those changes. Here's the next one, courage to be silent when it's so easy to talk. Here's the big one, courage to forgive. If somebody you've been working with and there seems to be a little tension, things aren't going well, somebody asks you to forgive, do that. Next, the courage to risk, like the farmer does every year, planting in the spring. Risk your emotions and your time and your heart. And to finish, learn the lesson of the seasons. Do the work of summer. Here's what summer's for: to nourish your values like a mother, give them life, to protect them like a father. Do the work of summer, staying the whole season, staying till it turns, staying till it happens. as you would protect a newborn baby as a father and nourish it like a mother. So treat your organization. Next, in the harvest, when it comes, there's two things in life that are so important. Number one, the full development of all your potential. Here's the next one, the wise use of all your resources. All those years ago, I started teaching 70, 10, 10, and 10. Don't spend more than 70% of what you earn. Then 10 cents for charity, 10 cents for active capital, which is Herbalife, 10 cents for investment capital. 70, 10, 10, and 10. Some have used that. Sarah used it. Others have used it over the last 10 years to become millionaires. I was taught which works. If you want to be financially independent someday, it's called two homes and one car. The average American gets 2 cars and 1 home. Here's a good advice. 2 homes and 1 car. You buy the second car after you've bought the second home. Wise use of your resources. So do the work of summer. It's not easy, but get it done. Do wise things with your harvest. And here's the last season to finish. When the winter comes, hopefully you'll be prepared from what you've done before the winter arrives. But the winter of surprise, the winter of death, the winter of illness, the winter of difficulties, make this note, just hang on. You know, the winter cannot last forever. There's never been a double winter. Some are difficult and some are easier. There's never been a double night. The night only lasts for a few hours, and then the day finally dawns and the shadows flee away.
It paid off for my mother, extended her life at least 20 years. Paid off for my father. He lived to be 93, never had a major illness, never did retire. When he died, his paycheck was waiting for him. So thanks to my mother for getting me started in the industry that finally became my love and my life, and got me ready, of course, when I met Mark Hughes to accept his invitation to travel the world and tell the story of health and nutrition. And thanks to my father, who gave me a seminar in 1 sentence. Let me give it to you. 1-sentence seminar from my father. He said, always do more than you get paid for. Always do more than you get paid for, to make an investment in your future. Good words. My father was unique. He was driving too fast one day on the highway. The officer stopped him and said, how come you're driving so fast? My father said, to get off the highway as quick as possible. My father said, when it's raining, you cannot fix the roof. When it isn't raining, it doesn't need to be fixed. He was something. Thanks to my mentor, Mr. Earl Schoaf, that I met when I was 25 years old, who introduced me to health and nutrition as a business and a product. I had studied and practiced all those years up until then. Now I discover it as a product and a business, became a part-time distributor, age 25, made my fortune by age 32. How thankful I am for the man who taught me nutrition as a business. And then he taught me all those other wonderful things that I've shared with you over these years. Here's a quick review. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living, which is fine. Profits make you a fortune, which is super fine. And he's the one that taught me in those early days to not only study, but to practice this key phrase: work harder on yourself than you do on your job. He said, if you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fine. He's the one that taught me. Don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. What incredible philosophy for me, age 25, to get started thinking about these ideas. And of course, I've been trying to practice, refine them, and teach them all these years. It was Mr. Earl Schoaf who said, "Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills." And then he's the one that shared with me this incredible idea that I picked up and I've shared all around the world, and I've certainly shared it in my 23-year association with Herbalife. And you all felt the impact of that when I was introduced today. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. And then I'm thankful for Bob Cummings, the old movie star, TV star that I was in business with, a little company called NutriBio. He had a saying that I've kept with me all these years. Here's what he said: "I'll take care of me for you. Will you please take care of you for me?" Fantastic. I'm thankful to Zig Ziglar, one of my longtime friends now, about 43 years we've been good friends. Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. When I first heard that phrase, I underlined the word everything, and I went for it. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. Of course, you need a way to help enough people get what they want, and that brings me to the next person who so greatly influenced my life, Mark Hughes, founder of Herbalife. Here's what he taught me. It's possible to make a positive contribution to millions of people if you have the right plan and the right product. About 19 years ago, Mark invited me to start traveling the world with him. Here are the 3 promises he gave me. If you haven't made the notes before, make them now. 3 promises Mark Hughes made to Jim Rohn. Number 1, he said, someday we will influence the health and nutrition industry. Right now, the industry influences us, but he said there will come a day when Herbalife will influence the health and nutrition industry. And from what you're going to hear the rest of the day, that has already turned out to be true. Herbalife is now influencing the industry. Number 2, he promised me that we could build the finest leadership team in the world. And during the 20 years he was my partner and friend and your leader in Herbalife, that certainly was accomplished, developing the finest leadership team in the world, envy of all the rest of the corporations that know about us around the world. The Chairman's Club and the President's team and the Millionaire team, the Global Expansion team, the World team, supervisors, distributors from all walks of life, in small villages, scattered around the world, in big cities, telling the Herbalife story. And now Mark's promise to me came true. He said, if we do it right, and I want you to underline the words, if we do it right. That's what I picked up first from Michael Johnson's speeches to us in getting acquainted. Here's a man who wants to do it right so that it'll last not only for our generation, but we can pass it on to the next generation. If we do it right, Mark said to me, we can make a positive, major contribution to the lives of millions of people. Now, 19 years ago, talking millions seemed a little bit of a stretch. How could this young kid who only went to the 9th grade in school, never met his father until he was 20, his mother dies when he's 18, didn't have the skills when he started, how could this young kid say, someday we'll affect the lives of millions of people? But he said if we have the right product, the right marketing system, develop the leadership team, and if we do it right, this will happen. And I watched all of that unfold as those years I spent with Mark traveling the world, helping him tell his own story, the Mark Hughes story, the Herbalife story, and then the gathering stories from all of you that started some of you with nothing. You went from pennies to fortune. and you developed a story of your own so that we could share that story with the rest of the world. That's what Herbalife is, good note to make, a collection of unique stories of people who bought into the idea of these splendid products that create the most incredible results, a marketing system that's unique among all marketing systems in our network marketing field, and then the leadership and the people to make it happen, not only here but around the world. So thanks, Mark Hughes. Now let me give you some of my best advice. Now how to take it from here and make it what it ought to be, Mark's dream to cover the world. 59 countries already, but 59 and counting. So add that, 59 and counting. By the time Mark died, it was 50 countries. Now 9 more. Now with Michael and the rest of the team, I'm telling you, 59 and counting. We're going to start counting, hopefully, that next 59 countries. And it's going to be fun to be on the journey. But here's some incredible advice I'd like to give to you. First of all, we're affected by what we know. Learn everything you possibly can. Take the best notes you can today, the rest of the day. The mind knows how to perform the miracle of wealth if it has the right ingredients. And from what we've had here now, 6 days of association with all of us, starting with the Chairman's Club on Tuesday, and now finishing with this incredible day on Sunday. Plenty of ideas that can make you rich beyond your wildest imagination, make you healthy, make you positive, give you dignity with your family, give you stature in the community, give you influence to do the positive things you'd like to do in your life, in your community, your church, your synagogue, with your family, within Herbalife, outside of Herbalife. What we know makes the difference. So learn all you possibly can. Capture every idea you possibly can. Second, our life is greatly influenced by how we feel. Knowing is the intellectual part. Knowing is like the set of the sail on the sailboat. What you know makes the difference in where you arrive. The same wind blows on us all. The difference in where we arrive is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail. And that's what you've had here now for 2 days, yesterday, today, especially for all of you. Ideas to set sail. Some of you, I'm sure, by now have already picked a new destination. When you arrived here, you thought, here's where I'd like to be in 5 years. You've probably already greatly accelerated that and said, no, that's too small. I think if I can overcome the challenges I've now got, that I can arrive in even a better place than I had designed before I arrived at this extravaganza. That's what we wanted this extravaganza to do, to inspire you with ideas that'll help you set a new destination. So what you learn is so important. Here's what's next. Your life is going to be greatly influenced by how you feel. We wanted to create not only the awareness of ideas and information at this 2-day, especially extravaganza, but inspiration to make it all work. Here's one of the most powerful combinations in the world, inspiration and ideas. Ideas invested with inspiration can create incredible reality. Now, the emotions, of course, are a bit tricky. Here's part of it. Number one, it's how you feel about the past. I know we've all been through a lot of stuff in our personal life, business life, social life. But it's not carrying that around as a burden, but it's learning from it. So learn from the past. Here's number two. It's how you feel about the future. Set your goals. Hopefully you've rearranged your goals, set some new ones for yourself and for your family, for your organization, for your life. We look to the past for experience, but we look to the future for inspiration. Next, it's important how you feel about everybody. It takes everybody to make an occasion like this. It takes everybody to make an Herbalife. It takes everybody to make a community. It takes everybody to make a country. One person doesn't make an economy.
It takes everybody. One person doesn't make a symphony orchestra. It takes everybody. Learning to appreciate the gifts of everyone is one of the most important lessons to learn, especially herbal life, where we deal with such a wide variety of personalities that fit into our business and make it work. And then here's the last one. It's so important how you feel about yourself. One of the greatest steps towards success is self-confidence. And the greatest builder of self-confidence is self-esteem. Doing the things you know you should do so that at the end of the day you have this great satisfaction. The old prophet said, the sleep of a laboring man is sweet. Not the sleep of a goof-off man. Not the sleep of a joker. No. The sleep of one who labors. That's the sleep that's sweet. Feeling good about yourself. Taking advantage of every opportunity. Sharing the story of both product and opportunity.
Here's the next one. Look around. You might have overlooked some people that need to be recognized. You might have overlooked some talent that you could be using to help in the training and conduct meetings. Don't miss some of the gifts that are close by you. Look around and say, who's doing a good job that maybe I've missed this last year? Look around and see if there aren't some people who need to be lifted up, who need your inspiration, who need your presence, who need your time. Here's the next one. Look down to the work. Look down to the soil that's ready for the seeds of opportunity that you will share by your voice and your invitation and your language and your meetings, your presentation. Look down to the work that your hands can work miracles. Look down to the task and see if there aren't some things you might have missed this past year you can pick up on this year and work miracles for yourself, for your future, for your organization. Here's the next one. It's a word of caution. Look out for the enemy that's on the outside as well as the enemy that's on the inside. Look out for your own thoughts that might deceive you, saying you're too short, you're too tall, you're too old, you've never done it before. What makes you think you can do it now? Look out for the temptation. I've told the story and it bears repeating. An ancient story that said there were two nice people. This is not a story of one bad person and one good person. The storyteller says this is a story of two nice people. However, and I want you to underline the word however, because that's the drama of life. However, one built his house on the rock, and the other built his house on the sand. And sure enough, the storms came as they always do, and the one that built his house on the rock was saved. The one that built his house on the sand was lost. Here's what it means. Nice people can make careless decisions. Nice people can make foolish decisions. None of us are above temptation. That's why the great prayer says, lead us around temptation. Hopefully deliver us from the evil. Tempted to cross the line. A customer shows up across the street from where you live. And it's so easy to say, rather than being taken care of by someone who lives so far away, I can take care of you because I live just across the street. Don't listen to the tempter. Stay on track. Build on the rock. Look out for your own mind that would tell you your dreams can't come true. Look out for your own thoughts that would tell you that it's not going to work that well for you. Look out for that. Here's the next one. Look inside. Some of you have just started to develop your talents and your skills and your abilities. Some of you have done enough to reach this level, to reach these tables, to be in this room. But I promise you, if you go home and take another look inside, here's the question to ask. What else could I develop? of my mind and my spirit and my talents and my ability that would make me more valuable to myself, to my family, to my organization, to Herbalife? What else could I do? When Mark invited me 20 years ago to travel the world with him, that was the question I asked. Do you suppose this invitation would be an open door for me to refine my skills and talent and health and become vital and become valuable to whoever I might meet based on Mark's invitation and the Herbalife family? That turned out to be a wise decision on my part. What else could I do? How far could I reach inside for something I haven't found yet? And that unique experience at that time when Mark gave me the invitation is what has sustained me now these last 20, 21 years traveling the world for Herbalife. And I'm always proud to say when I'm introduced, yes, I'm Jim Rohn, I travel the world for Herbalife. Here's the next one. Look up to the God that made us all, to a higher power that's still within reach. Draw on that spiritual part of human existence and human life. It'll work miracles. Once in a while I get a letter. Guess what it says? Dear Mr. Rohn, while you travel the world, please remember, we pray for you. I thought, wow, that's what I felt at 39,000 feet when I was a little weary and tired. Somebody in South Africa was saying a prayer for Jim Rohn. All of that unseen miracle stuff that we all touch at times in our lives. I'm asking you to look up and draw on that experience, that comfort, that uniqueness that makes us who we are. Here's what's next. Make these notes. The cooperation of home office staff and the distributors is going to be an incredible driving force. Now that I've met Michael Johnson and David and Greg, Matt, all the rest that have added to our staff, here's the sense I have and the promise I'll give you from Jim Rohn. I've got the experience to make the promise. Here it is. The home office is going to do their part. They're going to learn whatever they have to learn, change whatever they have to change, develop whatever they have to develop. It is my firm opinion that Michael Johnson and the rest have fallen in love with Herbalife and the idea of helping to change the nutritional habits of the world. They've done that. And being part of home office, my pledge is the same. Next, the Chairman's Club. Ladies and gentlemen, if you sit down and rest too long, become complacent, we lose the way. For the President's team out there with your organization, working consistently in your neighborhood and wherever you work, we're counting on you to help lead the way, solve problems, come up with answers, not just work tirelessly in your own behalf, but on behalf of Herbalife. Because as Herbalife goes, so we all go. We appreciate your contribution, your integrity. We appreciate your reputation. I know it's true. Not every President's team member is going to do the right thing. I know that. The law of averages says. But here's the key. Enough will that says we're going to be okay. Enough will that says we can go from the 58 countries we have to the 58 countries we want. So, President's team, what a responsibility. Thank you for making the sacrifice to be here. As you go home, part of our hopes and dreams for the future rest in your hands. And we know you're going to do the job, do it well, leading your organizations to incredible success. Thank you to the President's team. And to all of the tabulator team, you know, if your destiny and your future is not clear, we all suffer. If you're not all inspired, we're a little bit weaker than we should be. For yourself, for your organization, recognition, finding a place to serve, your experiences, your influence. Incredible. Next, keep working on the philosophy and the attitude that will guide you to the success you want in Herbalife. There's no reason why you can't make all of your dreams come true right here. This is the place. When I met Mark Hughes and then he invited me on this journey, I said to myself, this is my best chance. Not just to do something, but to do something remarkable. And Mark gave me those 3 promises. If you haven't made the list, make them again. Mark promised me, number 1, someday we would influence the industry. If he was only here to see what has happened in just the last short while, Herbalife beginning to influence the industry. Second, he said, we'll build the finest leadership team in the world. And if he could see in person this room full of leaders that have gathered here, he would say, we did it. It was worth the price to pay, whatever we had to do to develop this leadership that has seen us through some tough times, that has helped to evangelize the world with the idea of nutrition, personal development, becoming better financially for your family and for yourself. Next, a chance if we work together to work miracles. If we take the past, if we're inspired by the future, work on the present, there isn't anything we can't accomplish. We're affected by what we know, what we learn. Second, we're affected by how we feel. Here's the third one, we're affected by what we do. Now that we've left here with ideas and inspiration, it's time now to go back home and do the work. To go back home and do the work of our voice telling the story. To do the work of our hands delivering the products. To do the work of our heart trying to inspire people to change from who they are to who they would like to be. Of course, the work is the work. The biggest part of the work for me is travel. Travel is just hard work. Lecturing is easy. Speaking is easy. I call it hard work so that I get paid, but it's really easy. But as I went through customs right one more time, went through immigration one more time, packed and unpacked my suitcase one more time, and especially being single, it's a bit tough without somebody with you. I've been single now, about 12 years. It's not easy. I find myself in little remote places where, there's nobody to iron my shirt, so I got to iron it myself. But every single man knows if you're going to wear your coat all day, you only have to iron the front, right? So that's easy. But after I've gone through customs one more time, finally got to Paris, and then I came in to the Chairman's Club meeting, and then President's team, and then met in the other sessions we've had. Finally arrived here yesterday, and again today. As I think back on what it cost me in terms of the work of travel to get here, guess what I said? Small price to pay. Small price to pay. When the new mother has a baby, it seems like the largest price in the world, the labor of the new child. But as the child grows and smiles and learns, becomes somebody, becomes a unique person, she looks back on that experience and now she says, small price to pay. And the price for you to get here, I understand that. Part of the big price to be here was most all of you probably had to leave some of your family behind. I'd like to have you give me a promise that when you get back home,
you will tell your children, thank you from Jim Rohn for them staying home and making it possible for you to be here today. Okay? Thanks from Jim Rohn. And I will do the same. When I get back home to see my children and my grandchildren, I will say thanks from all of you to my children and my grandchildren for making it possible for Jim Rohn to be here today. So let us do the work. Now take these quick notes. Number one, constantly review your performance. All of us can use a bit of refinement. When I first started all those years ago, age 25, I was ambitious and a little reckless, and I needed some guidance and some help and some advice. Put this in your notes now. We could all use a little coaching. Whether it's our style, or whether it's our content, or whether it's our performance, or whether it's our social life, personal life. Mama helped me so much in those early days. Mama always said, eat before you go to the banquet and the dinner, so you won't appear hungry when you get there. That was good advice. Then she said, you can do the real work, which is to social. Meet with your friends, say hello, not have to spend so much time eating. Eat before you go to the banquet. Mama taught me so much. Mama taught me the white socks don't go with the black tuxedo. That was helpful. I thought it looked good. Review your performance. I've had to do this all of the time. This is about my 43rd year of telling a story, trying to help people do better with their lives, learn, grow, change, develop. I don't want the day to come when someone says, you should have heard Jim Rohn 10 years ago when he was really terrific. I want someone to say, I heard him 10 years ago, but you should hear him now. He's gotten much better. Thank you. Thank you. What's been exciting for me the last 23 years is to watch all the people I've been associated with make those changes. Some of the changes were awkward and difficult, and some of the changes were rather severe. But sure enough, we've developed the Chairman's Club now, and the President's team, and the Tabulator team, and all of you. Your refinement made it possible for you to be here. How you think and what you do and how you act and the person that you are. Here's the rest of my list. Don't hesitate to face your fears. See if you can't overcome them. Next, exercise your willpower to change direction. Key phrase that helped me, direction determines destination. It's a big mistake to walk north hoping you'll arrive south. Next is to admit your mistakes, correct them as soon as possible. Two of the best words to use in your life is I'm sorry if you've made a mistake in your language, if you've made a mistake in your relationship with someone. I'm sorry can work the miracle of starting a new relationship. Next is to refine your goals. Some of you have got a short list. By the time you leave here, hopefully your list is longer and longer. Next, we could all use a little help in coaching, which means pray for wisdom so that you'll have the answers to people's questions this year that you didn't have last year. You'll be better equipped to give those answers next year versus this year. Next, protect your family. That's part of what Herbalife is all about, to gather the resources, not only the good health from the products, Not only the influence from association with other Herbalife distributors and meetings and organization and all of that, but to protect your family in the future, build a financial wall around them nothing can get through. Live with intensity. Call all of your emotional resources and invest those in this splendid idea of product and opportunity. Next is try to find your place, a place that could continually change as you grow and develop. When I first started, I wouldn't have been invited to be on this stage with this many people to listen, take notes. I was not ready. It took me all of these years to get ready for this moment, for this place, for this time. I have found a unique place in Herbalife. I've been around now for a long time. Coming September, the year will be, for me, number 73. But what an incredible place I have found here, Herbalife. Thank you. Next, I would ask you to welcome the disciplines. It's the disciplines that make the creative power of what you think and what you want and what you dream and what you plan. Now the disciplines is what makes those into realities. Don't leave them just hopes and dreams and wishes. Part of the purpose for this extravaganza is to show you how to turn your own reaction, your own excitement, your own enthusiasm into productivity. Activity and productivity. Count the cost. I had to redo some of my goals. Some of the things I went for in the beginning cost me too much. If I would have known what it was going to cost, I never would have paid. Next, fight for what's right. Keep looking for the possibilities. Ignore the gossip and the rumors coming from so many countries, so many walks of life. There's bound to be rumors and gossip. Ignore the silly. Ignore the pessimistic. Ignore the shallow and the cheap. Don't let it be an influence. Here's one that's important. Resist the temptation to cross the line. Next, refuse to be a victim of circumstances. Refuse to be a victim of liars and evil. But here's the most sensitive. Refuse to be a victim of yourself. Beware of the thief on the street that's after your purse. But also beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise. What is that little voice that says you're too short, you're too tall, you're too old, you've never done it before, what makes you think you can do it now? You must resist that with all vigor. Next is to prepare for the challenge. We're going to face them. They're going to come. We've had them in Herbalife. The company was saved in 1983 and 1984 by the wisdom and the resources of Mark Hughes, who'd paid his taxes and had the money to put back in when the company faced its challenges. Now Herbalife is here, thanks to Mark Hughes, who made the March on Washington and made sure that the idea that he had was preserved. And I'm sure Michael Johnson, as well as Mark Hughes, who started it all, have made the pledge to preserve, protect, and defend Herbalife and its ideals and its philosophy and its products and its possibilities for the future. Here's one more. Attend all the meetings. You never know which one is going to change your life forever. You can't pick the one that's going to be life-changing. You just have to go to every one you possibly can, qualify for everything. One meeting may seem rather ordinary, one presentation may seem rather standard, and then you attend another meeting and it's life-changing and you're never the same again. Remember that. Even the small little meetings at home. Don't be saying, I've heard all of that, I don't need to go. Go one more time, listen to one more story. Somebody's heartfelt, inspirational story could be the means of changing your life. You'll never be the same again. Next, inspire your inner circle. Your friends, your associates, your family, those people that are on that inner circle that give you the inspiration to become successful and wealthy, powerful, sophisticated, unique, influential. Sit on your ego. Don't let it destroy you for the future. Learn to laugh at yourself. Here's one that saved my life. Kick the worry habit. Stay on track. All distractions are equal. Sleep with satisfaction. Pray for the poor, the lost children, the disadvantaged, the victims. Read more poetry. Taste more wine. Visit the lonely. Kiss the babies and play with the children. Embrace your friends. Dance for joy.
Now make this quick list and I'm going to finish. Number one, for us to really count on the future and to count on each other, here's a good list. Number one, morality, doing what's right. With Herbalife's marketing now and these incredible products we have, you know, doing it right is going to be so easy. There's going to be no reason for doing it wrong. There's no reason for making promises we can't fulfill. Here's what I learned early in my career. Always remember, whoever you're working with, this is what you want to occur later. That they found out it was easier than you said, and that it was more than you promised. Here's the key: better understated than overstated. When I wrote my first book, Seasons of Life, the picture in that book was really not the most flattering picture. And when some saw that picture, they said, Mr. Rohn, surely you could have found a little better picture to put in that book. I said, no, this one is fine, so that when I show up, I look better than the picture. That's better than using the glamour picture, right? And then when you show up, you look a little older. Here's what's next in the vocabulary for leadership for our future. Make these notes now. Next is truth. To deal in truth, we're going to speak the truth. We want to build on truth, what is right. Here's what's next: responsibility. Accepting responsibility. If we want the fortune, we must also accept the responsibility that goes with building it. Then the responsibility of what to do with it. Next is courage. Courage is that unique quality Mark had after he conducted his first meeting, and everybody said, we're not interested. Here's what he needed at that moment: courage. To do the second meeting. And at the second meeting, someone said yes. Your courage will be rewarded. There's no better place to place it than here. When you're discouraged with 3 in a row who say no, just remember, let your courage now show to talk to the next 3. Because out of the next 3, one may be the person that helps you become wealthy and rich. Public courage. Private courage, the courage when no one's around, when you make those resolves and decide for yourself you're going to do something, make some changes, whatever. Courage of thought. Here's an excellent one: courage to change. I have to work on this one. Courage to be silent when it would be better to listen than to talk. Here's a big one. Courage to forgive. Here's an important one. Courage to compromise. You give a little, I'll give a little. Somehow we'll work it out. That's what Marcus and Alan had to do back in those earlier days. A bit of compromise with each other to make it work. They're still working on it. Here's the next one. Courage to risk. That's what life really is all about. Not an undue risk, but risk. If you want the harvest in the spring, you must risk the seed into the soil. Or the harvest in the fall, you must risk in the spring the seed to sow. You've got to risk some of your time. My grandkids ask me every time, and my family, why would you go spend the day with those people in Hawaii rather than spending the day with us? I've got to give them some excellent reasons. And then when I see them shortly, they will ask me, was it worth it to go spend the day with them and not with us? So how I ration out my time and how you ration out your time is so important. Have the courage to make those wise decisions. Now, my family knows that a big part of my life now, of course, is herbal life. And they love the stories. And when I say to them, I had a chance in Maui to make a deposit of my own personal experience into the lives of so many incredible leaders from Herbalife around the world, that maybe, just maybe, that experience I had, depositing my experience into the thoughts and consciousness of all of you, no telling what kind of miracles that may work. And when I get through sharing with my family this opportunity I had to speak to you today, they say, yes, Grandpa, yes, Papa, it was worth it for you to go to Maui and be with the Herbalife family. Here's the next part of the list. Keep your word. What you promise, make sure you fulfill. When I leave on a trip, home office hopefully sleeps well at night. When Jim Rohn's in India, when Jim Rohn is in South Africa, when Jim Rohn is in Europe, hopefully they sleep well. Not pacing the floor, wondered if I've shown up. I wanted Mark to have the feeling, as long as Jim Rohn's there, everything's going to be okay. We all should earn that kind of reputation. As long as you're there, it's going to be okay. If it's in your hands, it's in good hands. That's the key. Next, admit your mistakes. Sometimes you've got to admit them publicly. Sometimes you've got to admit them to each other. Here's the big one, to admit them to yourself. And then here's sometimes, this could be some of the greatest new beginnings, is when you say, I'm sorry. It's a chance to start all over. Next is dignity. Heart and soul. If we were going to use a model for some of these words, it would be Mark Hughes. He had the dignity. He had the heart and soul. Next is faith. Faith in God, faith in others, faith in your family. A big one is faith in yourself. Here's one we all knew Mark for: class of spirit, class of manners, class that understands position, place. Here's a unique one, a touch of humility. The rich must be taught not to be arrogant. The poor must be taught not to be cynical. Some other basics to remember that I used when I was building my organization. Here's a good one. Manage as you build and build as you manage. It doesn't take but a short conversation to find out some people's problems. They have stopped building and started managing. But the key here says, build as you manage and manage as you build. It probably wouldn't be too far wrong to use the old 80-20 rule here. Spend 80% of your time building and 20% of your time managing what you build. But it's easy to get the wrong numbers here and spend 20% of your time building and 80% of your time managing. What made me one of the world's best recruiters? Here was my time management in recruiting when I built my own organization. I spent about 75% of my time recruiting and 25% of my time training. It is easy to get the opposite numbers going and spend 25% of your time recruiting and 75% of your time training. Guess what pays the biggest money? Recruiting, talking to the next person. Talk to the next person. Talk to the person across the street. I shared this with Alan yesterday or today. When we opened India, someone asked me, should I go to India? And I said, if you walk out your front door and look down the street and there's no cars and no people, and you walk over one more street and look up and down the street and there's no cars and no people, you should go to India. Let me give you Mark's philosophy, and it is one of the best. Mark recruited first line at home, and he built down line out of town. He never personally recruited outside of Southern California. He didn't go to Denver to recruit. He didn't go to Dallas to recruit. Right? He didn't go to another country to recruit. He recruited. All of the people he personally recruited were within his scope, where he was. Now, if somebody in Los Angeles knew somebody in Denver, and they got it going and got it started, then Mark made his trip to Denver, but not to recruit, only to advance the business. What a unique philosophy. And here's some of the wrap-up now. The philosophy that makes network marketing, Herbalife style, really fly. Number one, as many customers as possible to represent each distributor, and as many distributors as possible to represent each supervisor volume. Next, this one helped save my life. Work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Follow the example of life itself. Life was not designed for us to get what we need. Life was designed for us to get what we deserve. You don't receive a harvest because you need one. You receive a harvest because you planted one in the spring. And then here's one more, and I'm finishing. I got about 12 of these finishes. This one really did it for me now. Here it is. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. That helped to change my network marketing career. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Now, if you were Anthony Powell, maybe you could carry 1. Maybe 2 if they were small persons. But as big as he is, difficult to carry 3. So have you got that one now? You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Here's one of the things I learned that built my business. Put people on their own, give people responsibility, show them how to do their own thing as quickly as possible, as quickly as possible, as quickly as possible. Accept the responsibility for their own sales, accept the responsibility for their own customers, accept responsibility for building their own organization quickly, quickly. Yes, we lend a hand. Yes, they attend our meetings. Yes, they come to our training. But as quick as possible, put people on their own. It's what network marketing, it's what being in business for yourself is really all about. But it's easy to get trapped into spending too much time just helping or letting 2 or 3 climb on your back, use up all of your energy and time, and you have no more energy left for the 1,000 you could help.
If you've got some differences with other leaders within the Herbalife company, I would ask you to settle those differences. In the interest of future, in the interest of doing the billions we want to do. Because when top leaders don't work together, I'm telling you, it is incredibly costly to the whole company. When it's costly to the whole company, it's costly to each individual organization. But if we work together, all of that can be taken care of. Even if you've got some differences, find something you have in common and see if you can't work together, while then you work on settling those differences. If Marcus Lehman and Alan Lorenz had not settled their confrontation years ago of personal and business philosophy, it would have cost Herbalife at least $500 million. But the fact that they got together those years ago and started working together as powerful leaders in Herbalife, that $500 million now belongs to all the Herbalife family because they settled their differences and worked together. And now they've formed one of the most powerful business teams in the whole world. And we're so thankful that they're with Herbalife. But I'm asking you to do the same. John and Susan had a struggle. But one of the reasons they've been number 1 3 years in a row is because they found some unique way to develop the teamwork among people who had different personalities, different views, different ways of doing things. But somehow they found the genius of getting their people to work together. And then they were number 1 and number 1 and number 1 year after year after year. And at least another $500 million would have been missing if John and Susan hadn't have had this genius of getting the people to work together. I'm asking all of you to follow that example and do the same thing. Not only work together with someone else, but get other people to work together, and then we can finish the job Mark gave us to do all those years ago. Had the president's team not responded a few years ago to Mark's call and worked together on covering the world, someone from Africa going to Europe, someone from Europe coming to America, someone from America going to Japan. If that had not happened, Herbalife today would be struggling to do $1 billion in sales instead of $2 billion. It would have cost us at least $1 billion if everybody hadn't worked together. But since all of the president's team, a big share of them, decided to work together and make it happen, now we're approaching $2 billion in sales. That's what makes the difference. About a dozen years ago, before Herbalife reached some sense of unique corporate maturity, there were some differences and some disagreements that didn't get fixed and didn't get put together, and it's cost Herbalife billions of dollars. If all of it could have been settled back there a dozen years ago, today Herbalife would be doing $3, $4, $5 billion a year in sales. Not working together is so costly. Not settling these little differences is so costly. I don't want these billions to be missing in the future. I want every billion. I'm jealous about every billion in sales because of what it represents. So let's get it done and let's work together. Now, let me leave you now with this message. 3 important words I want you to consider. First is compassion. Mark's compassion to help people was unprecedented. He demonstrated it every day. He truly wanted to reach everybody. And if it would have been at all possible for him to have reached everybody in person, he would have done that.
He would have walked the streets. He would have covered the world and touched everybody individually if he possibly could have. But he couldn't touch everybody individually by himself. He touched as many as he could, signed as many autographs as he could, took as many pictures as he possibly could, flew as many miles as he could, did as many meetings as he possibly could, did as much training as he possibly could. Nobody did it better. And the reason is because he had this driving compassion that if he could reach somebody with the products, they would not suffer what he had seen other people suffer without the Herbalife products. It was his compassion that caused him to reach out and touch the people and help them to get started even though they had not much to start with. That was compassion. I'm asking you to find it within yourself, a new 21st century compassion for yourself, so that you will be driven to reach the people. You will be driven to talk to the next person. You will be driven to help somebody change their life best you can. The next word I would ask you to consider is commitment. If all of us will commit to the dream, if we will commit to the opportunity, if we will commit to the chance to be the best in influencing our industry, the best in network marketing around the world, a commitment of developing leadership second to none, of putting together a team that can finish the job over the next few years, committed to the next 20 years, if all of us will make that personal commitment, I'm telling you the collective commitment will be unbeatable as we go now country after country with the 49, 50 we've already got, using all of that information, all of that experience, getting to the rest of the countries of the world with commitment. We can do that. The collective commitment will be awesome. Our total collective commitment can solve any problem, develop any product, go any place, reach any community, and touch anybody that needs to be touched with the Herbalife opportunity. There's nothing more powerful than collective commitment. I promise you mine, and if you will promise yours to me, and I promise mine to you, and we promise ours to Herbalife, and we promise that we will work together with each other, that commitment will help us finish the job. And here's the last word, and that's courage. It's going to take some courage for some of you to settle your differences. It's going to take some courage for some of you to step out and lead the way. It's going to take courage for you to look inside and say, what do I need to correct within myself that'll make me a better person, a better leader, so that I can make my commitment to Herbalife and get the job done? Looking inside is a courageous act. Finding some things that aren't quite to your liking, some things that you need to correct, some things that you need to do. I've had to do that now for all of these years. Because if you're going to tell the story to the public, often you've got to look inside and see if there aren't some corrections you need to make. But I'm asking you to have the courage to make those corrections. If you need to apologize to somebody, I'm asking you to have the courage to give that apology. It could work wonders, not only for you and for that person, and for your organization and their organization, but all of Herbalife. If you have to take the first step, I'm asking you to have the courage to take the first step. If you have to make the first call, I'm asking you to have the courage to make the first call. And if we will take that kind of personal responsibility and look after ourselves, that we become honorable, that we become people of integrity, that we leave the door open to work with whoever wants to be responsible to get the job done in the future, there is not anything Herbalife cannot accomplish, and the next few years of the 21st century belongs to Herbalife. New president's team, where are you? Stand up one more time. At the great banquet last night, let's give them a hand one more time. New Pres team, whoa, looking good. Here's some more notes to consider. Keep reviewing your own performance. No telling how good you can become if you keep taking a look at what you're doing. Make little adjustments, both in delivery and in content. To a small little group I said yesterday, sometimes reputation is more important than information. How you say what you say is equally as important as what you say. Your own meeting performance, one-on-one performance, your invitation. Part of the recruiting magic is continually refining your presentation, your invitation. Try to make it unique. Here's part of the way I used to recruit. The waitress who brought me my coffee at Denny's, I would say, would you mind if I asked you one of the most important questions you will ever be asked in all of your life? Would you mind if I asked you one of the most important questions you will ever be asked in all of your life? You got to say yes to that, right? That's a genius way of saying it. I'm asking you to be the genius. And she says, no, what is the question? I said, the question is, have you found the opportunity that's going to take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? That's one of the most important questions anybody will be asked in all of their life. Have you found the opportunity that's going to take care of you and your family for the rest of your life? It's called a one-sentence seminar. Good question. She says, well, no. I said, then would you mind if I asked you the second most important question you will ever be asked in all of your life? And she says, what is that? And I said, the question is, are you spending some time every week actively looking for that opportunity? Those are two of the most important questions you will ever be asked in all of your life. And who's going to ask those questions if we don't? Nobody, probably. She says, well, no, I haven't found it, and I'm not looking. I say, wow, isn't that something? Then wherever that conversation leads, I might say, how would you explain that to your family? Which is a little tough, but. Then I said, would you mind if I gave you a gift? Wow, what is the gift? Here's my gift to you. And my gift is some of the best advice I was ever given in all of my life. I now give it to you. And that advice is this: you must spend some time every week looking until you find opportunity. A couple of evenings a week, some time on the weekend. Every week you must spend some time actively looking. That's one of the best gifts I can give you, the gift of advice I was given. Last, can I make you a promise? Here's the promise. The day you decide to start looking actively for opportunity, I promise you, your self-esteem will never be the same again. When you say, I'm going to start looking every week until I find opportunity, the day you decide that, you will never be the same. Your self-esteem will go through the roof. And last, the day you do decide to start looking, here's my card with my phone number on it. I've found the opportunity that's going to take care of me and my family for the rest of my life. And the day you start to look, I'd love to be the first to show you my opportunity. Thank you very much. And then I promise this, yes. I promise this. If you look at my opportunity, here's what's exciting. You may never, ever have to look anymore. Just figure out something. Smart enough to use your own ingenuity. How to give a better invitation, how to give a better presentation, how to do the training even better. Having something extraordinary to say in such few words that it makes sense. Next, refine your goals. I know you've got some classic good reasons for being here, but I'm sure if you sat and thought about it for a while, you might come up with even more. A lot of people are not here. They did not sign up and come simply because they were not driven by enough of their own personal goals. So let me give all of you this advice in this auditorium because you can take it. Here's number one. Be the leader in setting goals that inspire you so that you can assist others to do the same. Be the leader in setting your own personal goals and business goals and health goals and family goals. And who do you want to meet and what do you want to read and what do you want to see and where do you want to go and what do you want to do? Be the leader in setting goals so that you can inspire others to do the same. Next, ask for wisdom. Who knows from what many sources it comes? I do believe it comes from books, and I do believe it comes from training, and I do believe it comes from personal conversation, but I also believe it comes from prayer. Ask for wisdom. In fact, ancient scripture says, if you ask for wisdom, it will be generously given. I wouldn't miss that if I were you. Next, live with intensity. And why not? My mentor, Mr. Schoaf, gave me the best advice. I said to him, how much money should I earn? He said, as much as you possibly can. How many books should I read? As many as you possibly can. How far should I go? And his simple answer was, as far as you possibly can. How much should I share? As much as you possibly can. How hard should I work? As hard as you possibly can and stay healthy. How many friends should I make? As many as you possibly can. So make the note. I've done it before, but if you missed it, now's the time to get it. Don't settle for less than you can become. Don't settle for less than you can have. Don't settle for less than you can share. Don't settle for less than you can be. Next, demand integrity from yourself. You can't demand it from others. Next, welcome the disciplines. This is how we turn dreams into reality. If you will use the Herbalife opportunity, its products and the explosive potential of its testimonials, and if you will use the refinement of its marketing system that so generously pays anybody that even attempts to try to do the business, and if you will allow that to inspire you to not only the knowledge, but the disciplines to do it, Herbalife will formulate for you an incredible adventure like I've had, especially these last 19 years. Next, count the cost. When you do set goals, what's it going to cost? When I first got started, there were some things I went for that really cost me too much. If I'd have known what it was going to cost, I never would have paid. Next, look for the possibilities for yourself and as leaders, because that's who you are sitting in this
audience today. Look for the leaders. Look for ways to inspire people to take the next step up, not just in the marketing system, but the next step up to help in the meetings, the next step up to do part of the training, the next step up to be part of the inner circle and the inner team that really makes it work. Next, refuse to be a victim of circumstances, or a victim of liars and evil. And last of all, and the most complicated, refuse to be a victim of yourself. One of the great challenges of the human adventure is to listen to the better angels of our nature. What is the little voice that says, go ahead, run the red light, it'll be okay, and sure enough, you're dead? What is that? It's part of the challenge of living. We live side by side with good and evil. Sometimes there seems to be more evil than good. Then it changes and there seems to be more good than evil. For a long time, the darkness of the world was covered with tyranny, and liberty was in short supply. Now, liberty's on the march, and tyranny's out of style. So dominate the dark side of your nature that would sabotage your hopes, destroy your dreams. Beware of the thief on the street that's after your purse, but also beware of the thief in your mind that's after your promise. Next, prepare for the challenges. We're going to have our share. Mark's 20-year career with Herbalife was filled with challenges. But that's how we grow. It's how we develop. It's how we change. That's how we look for strategies and ways and means and opportunity. Next, seize the opportunity. Don't let a window open called opportunity and then close without you taking advantage of it. Whether it's someone you meet, or the opportunity to be unusually gifted in a meeting with words that can reach somebody that no other meeting would reach. Next, praise the contribution of others. We get rich here by helping other people get rich, not only in money, but rich in experience and rich in language, rich in skills, disciplines, abilities. Praise every small contribution that helps someone to grow, because as they grow, you grow. As the organization grows, you automatically grow. Key, you stand on the shoulders of all the rest that are part of your organization and your group. And notice the word shoulders. You don't stand on the volume, you stand on the shoulders. Next, give thanks. What can I possibly say in terms of thank you to Mark and to all of you who've made my life so extraordinarily rich? Thanks for the opportunity for me to have more than one career. Wishing now I could live more than one lifetime. But maybe we can do enough in the next 20 years to live 5 more lifetimes in the next 20 years. So become the best you can, go as far as you can, see what all you can see, do what all you can do, accomplish everything you can accomplish. And now with Michael's help, we continue the journey. Here's the third promise Mark made to me. He said, if we do it right, and I want you to underline those words because in the future as well as in the past, we've got to continue to do it right. As a distributor, as a sponsor, from the medical board, to the executives of the company, to the staff that represents and helps Herbalife distributors around the world, to each distributor, here's one of the keys to our reputation of the future, and that's doing it right. And we can borrow the clues from the past because we've done it right that has brought us to this incredible year after 24 years in business. We've done it right, and we're going to continue to do it right. Here's what he said. We can make a positive contribution to the lives of millions of people. Now that staggered my imagination. I could see thousands, I could see tens of thousands, I could see hundreds of thousands. That's not what Mark said. Mark said millions. Guess what it turned out to be? Millions. I learned very quickly to trust Mark's judgment and his vision, because in those early years, he could see much further down the road than I could. Wow. And over time, he affected me a lot more than I affected him. He taught me more than I taught him. It's true, in the beginning, I was his mentor, counselor, advisor, friend, whatever. But over time, those years that I knew this extraordinary young man, he taught me more than I taught him. And it's true, with his partnership, we were able to reach and touch the lives of millions of people. What an extraordinary journey it's been for me. Now, some good advice. Here's the list. Fine-tune your listening skills. I know yesterday was challenging, the day before with our special group. It's all been challenging, right? To sort of shut out the world for a while and, let everything have its place out there while we move in here and concentrate on what's being said, the testimonials and the advice and the teaching and the training and all of the stuff that you've had to absorb. But not only here, when you get back, fine-tune your listening skills so that you can listen to some of your own distributors who are ready to move up, and maybe you've sort of missed it. And now if you go home and say, I'm going to listen better now than I've ever listened before, and see if I can't find some more leadership to gather up, help build the organization that will bless everybody's fortune and future. Listen to the testimonials. Listen intently to every class that's being conducted, even if you've heard it 100 times. Listen intently one more time. You'll pick up something you've never picked up before. Here's the next one. Listen to your heart. Listen to yourself. Especially you that have been with Herbalife 5 years, 10 years, some of you 20, 24 years. Listen to your heart again about what you want to do further with Herbalife. You've come a long journey, but maybe there's some goals, there's some things that you'd like to do and like to accomplish that your heart now can tell you if you'll just take the time to do the listening. And that's my next point. Set some challenging goals. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Okay, don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Set some goals that'll make you stretch. Become more than you ever thought you could become. Not only business goals. I know some of you that are a get team, you're trying to get the millionaire team. Some of you that are millionaire team, right? You're working hard to finally qualify for president's team. But here's what else I'm asking you to do. Set some personal goals. Who do you want to become? And set some goals for your family. They're depending on you to help set their goals. They can think of some things, but you've got to fill in all the rest about what's important for family, for future. So take on that responsibility of setting family goals, personal goals. If you're married, it's goals for your marriage. If it's friendship, it's goals for your friendship. If it's financial security, it's goals for financial security. All the things you can think of, because here's what can happen with the Herbalife opportunity so ready to serve you. We can make all those dreams come true. If you'll step up, think of more things than you ever thought of before. Here's the deal. Reasons make the difference in how your life works out. When I first met my mentor, I'm 25 years old. He said, Mr. Rohn, I think you've got enough desire. I think you certainly have enough ambition. You're certainly willing enough. Probably what you need now is enough reasons to change your life. And if you have strong enough reasons, you'll get up a little earlier and stay up a little later. Listen a little more carefully if you have enough reasons. So I'm asking you, while you're here, spend some time on that. And especially when you get home, find some time to get away. You and your husband, you and your wife, get away, set those goals, get together with the family, set some more goals, get together with your organization when you get back, set those goals. If you haven't found 2 or 3 leaders to work with, go find them. Set the goals. I'm going to find 2 or 3 people to work with me, and we'll just blow this city wide open. We'll make this state, right, sit up and take notice of Herbalife. Now, here's what's next. Pray for patience. Doesn't come easy. All of us, especially that are ambitious to succeed, ambitious to help someone to succeed, ambitious to conquer our world, do the best we possibly can. It's not that easy to be patient, but I'm asking you to pray for it. Sometimes it's got to come as a gift, that you'll be patient with your people, you'll be patient with your customers. Some are easy and some are difficult. That little morning prayer, dear Lord, give me the patience today to handle somebody's upside down personality, right? That's going to challenge me. I'm asking you to pray for a little patience with the company. You know, the transition has been long, 3+ years. And now, right, getting things meshed to work together, and it's coming together. Things are really happening now fairly swiftly. But give the company a little time. If we make a promise and something happens and something's a little delayed, have a little patience. Here's the last one. Have some patience with yourself. Just, you know, you got to sometimes just sit down and just take it easy. And just take it easy on yourself. You'll get there. You'll learn. You can change. You can grow. Here's my next bit of advice on this dramatic day. Find some extra courage. Here's number 1, to make the tough decisions. I don't know what all the decisions you had to make to get here. That's probably a good start. When you get home, you're going to have to make some more, but reach down inside. Some of the answers are outside. Some of the answers are in these incredible products. Some of the answers come from our history and our legacy. Right? Some come from our reputation. Some come from those that are surrounded, but here's the deal. The tough decisions you have to make all by yourself. And the courage to do that comes from inside. We're here to support you all the way. This is part of the Herbalife tradition, helping each other to succeed, wishing each other well. I remember well the journey Amartat made over all these years. I've gone, you know, for his organization in France and other places around the world. I remember those early days in New York when he was having a tough time, and in California. I don't know how many times we sat down together working out some stuff. And then when he made his presentation here the other night, it was one of the best I ever heard. Amartat, growing, fantastic. Here's another one now, public courage. You know, we're going to bump around, right? Some other people, maybe bruise a few egos along the way of other companies and other traditions and other things that are happening out there, but be willing to take a unique stand for Herbalife in public. We've now got an incredible public image. Let's keep it going. Have the courage to speak up for Herbalife. Here's the next one now, private courage. When no one else is around and you've got to dig deep inside to make decisions you haven't made before. Here's a good list. Have the courage to change. If you need to change, then change. If you need to read, then you've got to do your reading. If you need to listen, you've got to do your listening. If you need to grow, then you've got to start growing. If you need to be a better example of the Herbalife success story, then just ask for strength and help and get on course and just go. Here's the next one, the courage to forgive. We've got egos and personalities, plenty, especially gathering all of us here, 10,000 in Nashville. And sometimes we, bump into each other. You got to learn to say, pardon me. All the things that keep us, going down the same road here. Egos bump up against each other. Once in a while in the early days, some had such huge egos, when we knew they were coming to town, we enlarged the doors so that they could get through the door with their egos. But here's the key, the courage to have a touch of humility. No matter how grand and glorious your success might be, a touch of humility will make you more sophisticated than you can imagine and will make your story shine brighter. Remember, the poor must be taught not to be cynical, but the rich must be taught not to be arrogant. Here's the next one, the courage to compromise. When to make things work in your local community, your local organization, the STS, whatever it is, to compromise, give a little, someone else will give a little, you give a little, right? Not so demanding. We don't want to let everything just fly apart. Everything does have to work well, but learn to work together. If you'll have the courage to do that, I promise you, Herbalife is going to be secure for the future. Here's the next one, courage to risk. For some of you, it took a lot of courage to be here, risking the time, risking the arrangements you had to make, risking the promises probably some of you had to make to get here. Now you got to go home and make those promises come true. Have the courage to invest your time. We've got a limited supply. The courage to invest your emotion, your heart, your soul. The unique thing about Mark Hughes, his heart and spirit was right out there to be invested. So it got bruised and so it got misunderstood, but he was always willing to risk it, to risk taking the first step. To risk the first phrase, I love you, even though you weren't quite sure you were going to hear one back. You just risk it. Just let it go. Next. The challenge for all of you here, since you have done extraordinary things to get here, now use all of that it took to get here to now become a leader. Your family needs an extraordinary leader. Your community needs an extraordinary leader. Your organization needs an unusual leader. To make all the promises that our marketing plan says and that our history says is possible, now comes the challenge of leadership to make sure that all of that happens. Here's the key now on leadership. Be willing to accept the opportunity and the responsibility. Become a leader to your customers. We've talked a lot about that yesterday. Helping customers through that early look at what we've got that could be the answer to their challenges. And sometimes it takes somebody to take them by the hand and say, hey, it's going to be okay, let me show you. It's going to be okay, let me show you. Become a leader and inspire your inner circle. Don't be the person who can inspire their organization but not their children. Help your organization set goals and help your children set goals. Help people make wise decisions about how to proceed and what to do with their time and their money. What to do with the opportunity so that it doesn't slip through their fingers and someday they'll regret that they let it get away. Next, I ask you to work on all of your skills and all of your gifts. It's been my challenge since coming from the farm country of Idaho working on my gifts, working on my skills so that they found a place for me. There's an ancient phrase that says this from the old prophet: if you work on your gifts, they will make room for you. If you work on your gifts, they'll make a place for you. You'll have a place to serve, a place to be effective, a place to have influence. If you work on your skills, work on your gifts. I've got to be one of the good examples. Look where my gifts have brought me. From the farm country of Idaho to Nashville, Tennessee. Wow. Of course, it's taken all of you in this journey of the last 23 years to do all of that. But I'm excited we had the opportunity. I'm just anxious for it to continue. Mark made his share of mistakes. Some of us that go back to the beginning were in on all of them. And it was an interesting list, both in products and marketing and judging people. He made his share. But jot this down because it's one of the best things I know to say about Mark Hughes. His list of virtues was so long, it overcame his short list of mistakes. We should all work to that our list of virtues is so long, it overcomes our mistakes. If you haven't made these notes before, this is a good time. When I first, 19 years ago, started traveling with Mark, I shared this little list. Here it is, number 1. For the things we want for the future, first, get serious. Serious about your own commitment, serious about your goals for the future, serious about being the best example possible of the Herbalife opportunity and the incredible, remarkable ability to enjoy good health from Herbalife's products. Get serious about your own personal development. This would be a good time to get serious, this beginning 2003, making new commitments for the future, especially from what we've heard these last few days by everybody's presentation. Next is to get smart, learn everything you can. Here's what it takes: incredible patience to learn, because some good ideas come in strange packages. Sometimes you read a little small book and it's got 10 good ideas. And then you read a 500-page book and it's got 2 or 3 good ideas. But you've got to read both books. You have to have the patience to go through the 500 pages, and then maybe the excitement of going through just a few pages and getting a lot of ideas. But you must read both books. You can't just read little books. Yesterday, Tom gave us the 500 pages. Which is Tom's style. Tom is very famous. He does his, right, corporate stuff. But fortunately for all of you today, I'm going to give you the little book today, not the big book. Thank you. I do have one more thing to add to Tom's talking about the women. There's 3 ways to control a woman. Three ways to control a woman. And nobody's been able to figure out what those 3 ways are. In America, women have access to 85% of the wealth of the country. No, they control 85% of the wealth of America and have access to the other 15%. But here's what's exciting. No better place for women to shine than Herbalife. This is the place. So, first, get serious. Next, get smart. Learn everything you can from every source you can. Have the patience. Here's one of the advantages of Herbalife: multiple voices to give you all the views you need to make good decisions. Some voices that are new, just getting started, but they've had such extraordinary success, we have to have them tell their story, share ideas. Some that have been around since the beginning, we ask them to share equally so that we can get the perspective of how to organize our own lives, everything from time to money to life to family to business to skills to disciplines. The corporation has to be smart. Learn all they possibly can to be the best support system for all of us in the world. Next, get serious, get smart. The next one was get going. No matter how smart you are, nothing much happens in terms of results until you put it into action. Just go to work. And the old ancient formula is probably the best: 6 days work, 1 day rest. It's important not to get those numbers mixed up. Here's why activity is so important. It finally produces the miracle of reality. The miracle of substance always comes finally when something is put into action. Yes, we need to be dreamers. Yes, we need to be architects for the future. But the architect needs the bricklayer. Make the note. The bricklayer needs the architect knowing what to build. But the architect can draw the painting and the picture, the dimensions all day long. But unless somebody is willing to lay bricks, then the entity and the building and the opportunity is never accomplished. So get going. Here's one that's important. I had a little bit to do with bringing this idea that the Kims mentioned in my introduction, and that is get better. And no matter how long you live, it's possible each day, each month, each year to get better. To get better at understanding the complexity of life, get better at handling a variety of personalities that come your way, get better at managing fear, get better at conquering worry, get better at language that works miracles and helping people see and change their lives, take advantage especially of the opportunity we present. Get better at seeing the vision for yourself so that you can enlarge what you do, that takes in your family, takes in your community, your country. Get better explaining opportunity so that people can see and take advantage. Get better at giving wise advice, being first a consultant, somebody that can trust your information as to how to get started and how to grow, how to change, how to develop, how to build something so solid finally you can pass it on to the second generation. Here was the next one that I've tried to work on ever since I learned it from my parents, and that is to get away, balance your life. Anything out of balance really doesn't run well, whether it's your life or your automobile or your business. Get away and partake of what's happening, the culture, the music, the dance. My parents put it this way: don't miss anything. Don't miss the game, don't miss the performance, don't miss the show. Don't miss the opportunity. Turn off the television set most of the time. The average American family watches television 6 hours a day. I asked a man one time, what does television cost? He said, $450. I said, no, what does it really cost? Not to own it, but to watch it, what does it cost? I said, I estimate last year it cost you about $45,000, not to own it, but to watch it. So get away, see the play, listen to the lyrics of the song. If not for you, the winter would hold no spring, couldn't hear a robin sing. I just wouldn't have a clue if not for you. There's a whole new sense of destiny for Herbalife Company, Herbalife distributors, Herbalife home office, Herbalife leaders, without a doubt. Mark left us in such a fantastic place to take advantage of the next 20 years, having given us his leadership over the first 20 years. Got us to almost $2 billion in sales, 48, 49 countries. He left us with incredible systems to use. He left us with an intricate working power of all of the systems that are working all around the world. It was just unbelievable. He would be proud today to see all those systems at work that brought all of you from all over the world to this Masters. He would have said, we did a good job that first 20 years. Now it's up to all of us to take it on for the next 20 years. The things that Mark taught us were incredible. Here's a pretty good list. First, Mark taught us to get a dream, a business dream, which he helped to formulate. A dream of becoming financially independent, a dream of supporting your children in whatever educational channels they might want to go, a dream of having a business that would satisfy all of your wishes for the future, a chance to be from the profits of your business to be benevolent, like he was, to support worthy projects, to do all of that. Then, of course, Mark taught us to have a personal dream. What do you want for yourself? What do you want for your family? What kind of person would you like to become in the future? What skills could you learn? What could you possibly do with the association of Herbalife and the influence of Mark and Herbalife? The whole key was to see what kind of person you could become, to not settle for less than you could be, to overcome the obstacles personally, develop your personality, become a charismatic person, and to become all that you could possibly become and not leave anything out. That was Mark's dream for all of us. And what we need to do now at the Masters, now that we've heard all of the teaching and all of the training and having it wrapped up here today, is to have a new sense of your business dream, Herbalife dream, the profit you want to make, the business you want to build, the organization you want to have, the people you want to reach, but also coupled with that are your personal dreams. Because what drives us to do the business, what drives us to get up those early hours, what drives us to stay up those late hours, what causes us to put out that extra energy to do an extraordinary job is our personal dreams. And I promise you that if you've got those personal dreams that you want to accomplish, the business dreams of Herbalife can make all those personal dreams come true. I'm asking you not to sell yourself short. If you've got some dreams that you've put away because you thought were impossible, I want you right now to start making a list of all of those things that you really want, because we're here the next few years with the Herbalife dream to help make all your dreams come true. That's what we're all about. Mark taught us to believe in a plan that was workable. And nobody was more of a genius in putting a plan together that was workable to bring health and nutrition, to bring dermagetics, to bring financial independence and personal development to the marketplace. The man was a genius. In the plan he put together, refined over the years, of course. But after 20 years of unique refinement, we now have a plan second to none. I know there's, a new company starting every 5 minutes around the world because network marketing is such a powerful force in all of the world, but I promise you, best your bet be on something that's well tested and well proven, like the genius plan that Mark put together over the last 20 years. We've got the plan. Mark taught us to find a good product you can believe in. 20 years out there in the marketplace and 20 years of testimonials and 20 years of life-changing experiences from these products. The product that he asked us to believe in is now set and ready for the next 20 years. There's nothing like it. Herbalife has the products. And then it was Mark's dream that everybody would participate in personal development. Learn the skills, make the changes necessary to capture the essence of all that you've got within you. To become the person you can become, to become a leader, to become a manager, to become a supervisor, to touch other people, develop your own charisma, your own influence, develop your own reputation, be all the person you can possibly be. That was Mark's dream, and I see that happening in front of my very eyes here today. That's what Mark wanted. Mark taught us to talk to the people. Go see the people, he said. I've developed a system that's called person-to-person marketing. Now let's go talk to the people and see if we can't, number one, solve their problems. If they've got financial problems, without a doubt, we have the answer. If they're a little lacking in personal development, if they would join Herbalife, we will help them every step of the way to develop them to their full potential. Mark taught us to develop the skills. He taught us that step by step, as he learned the skills, we could learn the skills. When Mark first started, he didn't know how to run a company doing $1 billion in sales. But he was determined to learn. Whatever notes he had to take, whatever class he had to take, whatever teacher he had to listen to, step by step, he learned the skills and asked us to do the same. Then Mark asked us to lead the way. Step out in front. Develop the courage to be the first in your family. Develop the courage to be the first in your community, to lead the way. Mark taught us consistency. How often did we hear him say, day in and day out, week in and week out? Whatever it takes, develop a good plan and consistently work it day after day after day, refining as you go, of course. That was Mark's philosophy. Mark taught us to believe in the future, using the past to correct our mistakes and using the future to get excited. No one was more excited about the future than Mark. He was excited about tomorrow. He was excited about next week. He was excited about next month. He was excited about the next training. He was excited about his next trip. He was excited about the next city he was going to attend. He was excited about the next country where he was going to appear. He was excited about the next chance to call a conference together of top leaders from all over the world. Every feature of the promise of the future of Herbalife, Mark had this incredible, boyish enthusiasm, embracing every piece of the future, because he had the confidence that what we had learned in the past would help us to develop the future and that we would be absolutely the best in the industry, number one, no doubt about that. Mark taught us to believe in the people. The people is where the fortune is. If you help the people, you help yourself. If you solve their problems, you solve your own problems. If you help them take the first steps, it makes your steps even stronger. If you help the people with their vision of the future, your vision of the future gets clearer. If you help the people overcome obstacles, your obstacles will disappear. If you work hard to put money in someone else's pocket, mysteriously, your pockets fill up with the money. If you will invest in the people, they will invest in you. If you inspire them, they will inspire you. If you will lead them, someday they will lead you. Typical example, Mark Hughes, Jim Rohn. In those early days, Mark attended my seminars. And then finally, I attended his seminars. If you help someone else, someday they will help you. You be the leader now, they may be the leader later when you need that kind of leadership. If you will inspire somebody now, later someday when you need the inspiration, I'm telling you it will be there. Mark said, reach out and touch everybody you can touch. He talked about talking to 10 people a day. And I know some of you are talking to more than 10 people. Some of you maybe are talking to a little less than 10 people. But it wasn't just exactly the figure 10. It was talk to enough people to fill up the day's activity. But if you will talk to the people, every person you talk to could be an open door, the next friend for life, the next business associate. He knew that the genius of building a multi-billion-dollar company was to pay attention to the people. Go see the people. Go train the people. Go inspire the people. Help them to see a vision of the future. Help them to solve their problems. And he knew then if we did that, we would build a company second to none. We would have all the resources we needed, and we would have the strength to keep doing it on into the future. One more, Mark taught us to believe in ourselves. He said, you've got the genius. He said, if I can do it, you can do it. If I can turn it around, you can turn it around. If I can start with nothing, you can start with nothing. If I discovered something within me that helped me become a leader of a multi-billion-dollar company, why couldn't you do the same? If I can inspire the people, you can inspire the people. If I can come up with a good 90-day plan, you can come up with a good 90-day plan. Believe in yourself, believe in your language, believe in your heart, believe in your faith. You've got everything you need to do all that you want to do to become all you can possibly become. Believe in yourself. No one taught that better than Mark. He gave me a unique sense of my own personal dignity, not only by the job that he asked me to do, traveling with him around the world and touching the people, but he also gave me a sense of destiny. He gave me a sense that if I kept developing my skills and kept working on my sense of vision, that the opportunity for me would be absolutely never ending. And for me, that turned out to be true. And now Mark passed along this teaching skill to so many. That's why we've gathered here for the Masters today. He was with us in Masters 1. Now here we are alone with Masters 2. But his spirit is here, his teaching is here, his philosophy is here, and those that have been teaching over these last few days certainly is testimony to that the learning goes on, the teaching goes on, the inspiration goes on. Developing a plan and making it work goes on, which is what Mark would have wanted. This Masters has been a great opportunity for you to learn those extra refinements of the basics that makes the product work, that makes the marketing system work, that makes personal development work. You've been taught by the best. The Masters is a good place for you to refine how you work your day, how you work your plan, to refine the way you talk to other people and conduct the meetings. We're going to leave here with an incredible wealth of information and an incredible chance of refinement to go back and do an absolutely extraordinary job. The Masters is also a chance for you to meet each other. to listen to the details of someone's extraordinary testimonial. Take the picture so you take that back with you. And in fact, those face-to-face meetings, meeting somebody, getting the details of someone's testimonial, taking a picture, something uniquely personal, take it back home with you, that can be just as valuable as what you might have learned from the stage here at the Masters. Also coming to Masters has given all of you, I'm sure, a new sense of the big picture. What Herbalife is all about. That country by country, we are going to finish the job. 50 now in the first 20 years, who knows how many in the next 20 years. Also, we're asking you now, as a result of the Masters and the training and the people that you've been listening to, the ideas that you've got, notebooks full of notes, ideas and testimonials to take home, now we're asking you, when you get back home, to lead the way. Let Herbalife be known for its extraordinary leadership. Let Herbalife be known as those unique people. If you want something done, ask an Herbalife distributor and it'll probably get done. The reputation that we lead the way. And it's exciting to be here. The inspiration is here. The power is here. All of the stuff is happening here. But now, when you get back home, I'm asking you to take those steps. I'm asking you to be consistent day in and day out. I'm asking you to take the basics you learn here and go do the job. Lead the way.